reminds me. They always say, like, what is it? Like, violence is never the answer. And that doesn't resonate with me. Violence is the question. It's not the answer. Do I be violent or not? Right? It's not like
It's so amazing. I never thought, I never considered like doing a TEDx talk. It was so out of my comfort zone and so out there. And I just said, like, this is cool. But, I was like, and then this invitation comes and I'm like, okay. And then when I opened the emails, I'm like, holy fucking shit. I never thought that they would say yes this year. So now I'm like, okay, now I have to deliver it.
Yeah, right. So tell me about this woman though, that like, how did the connection go? Because I remember listening to a podcast, like, I don't know, a couple of years ago, and it was like, if you want to get on a TEDx stage, or maybe it wasn't TEDx, maybe it was a TED Talk stage where, like, I don't know, but it was like, it's like a year process. You have to apply, you have to have like trainers and go through this whole thing. So I'm like, that's not for me.
It is TED, which is the big names, and then TEDx, which is the regional names. So I was coaching in this certified money coach. And then one of my students says, Coach Fran, can I talk to you? And I'm like, yeah, I talk to everybody. And she's like, well, I'm one of the chairman. Every role inside TEDx is volunteer based.
Okay.
She's one of the speaking coaches for TEDx. And she's like, I really love the way that you show up. Have you considered applying? And I'm like, no. So the first thing that I did is I took my talk from Super Coach Experience last year, and I'm like, empowered thinking. And she's like, no, TEDx has to be something that is yours. And I'm like, fuck me. What is mine? I don't even know that I have.
Book.
Question though.
So that's what I did. So I grabbed my book and I said to ChatGPT, can you please give me something that is mine? And ChatGPT was just like, yeah. The wings framework. And I'm like, wow, dude, that's pretty awesome. I did that. And I never considered it. So that's what I presented. And then something called me to the computer, and then I opened it and it was like, welcome. And I'm like,
just sweating.
Oh, shaking, sweating, all of the things. I had so many emotions. First with this guy that just says like, boom, you're alive. All of your juices are flowing. Wow. And then this thing, I was just like, okay, thank you, world. I get it. I love it. And so right now, there is a process. This Sunday, I have to present it for the first time. So the first thing that I did was write it. And so I'm going to send it.
Great. Can't wait to read it. You're presenting it already, like just on recording or what?
I went out last night and my brain is just like, I'm going to have practices every Sunday.
It's amazing.
Yeah. No, because you have to present your unique idea in 10 minutes flat.
Right. Without the script.
Without the script. And ideally without slides. So I did my ChatGPT thing. I'm like, put it together in 10 minutes. And then I did it my own, of course, which is what I sent there. And it is basically just like, I wanted to do it for women, but I also in a TEDx stage, you cannot be like, only for women.
Right.
So what I'm going to start is like, for all of you, like we are used to having this go shit, and you have to do more, and you have to just have all of your shit together. And then you're in this constant hamster wheel. Right? With that, like you get burnt out and you're like, what the fuck am I doing? I'm just surviving. You're going to burnout because we're stretched too thin. You have to produce more and your career and take care of your home. And if you have kids, figure it out. And you're always in that hamster wheel. So what if I told you that there is a way to break free? And this is the wings framework. First is witness and just take a pause and just take a look at how you are. And so I'm going to tell them about my my personal honeymoon and how that really connected me to who I am, really to go back to the present, to being present with that. And the question is, who are you beyond the roles that you play? Who are you really are? And to place their hand on their heart and just say, what do I want? What do I want?
Of
And
course.
then is identify. How did you come to be here? What made you who you are? What are the beliefs and stories that you told yourself? Because we continue to put labels and shit, and I have to do this, and I have to be better than whatever, and it's all bullshit. So once you identify, you're able to make a decision to what you give your energy and attention. So I'm going to put them to do an exercise to look at the person on the right and just think that that person is out to get them. And they want shit from them. And just feel that in their body. And then to look at the person on the right and just say, this is my biggest cheerleader. What would happen? What changes in me if I feel like this person has my back and is just here to impulse me? And that is all perception. So when you identify, you can identify what is no longer serving me and what is serving me. And in the end, it's about choosing. So that is the thing. And then nurture is the third thing. Nurture self-love, and just to stop being so hard on ourselves, because that doesn't give us fuck shit. And so once I learned to treat other people with the same love and respect that I treat the people that I love, because you have a friend and you're always like, yeah, you can do it, I believe in you, and you see your friends and you're like, wow, what if we can bring that back to ourselves as well, a little bit, and stop being so much of an asshole. So I do that in a whole thing. And then there is grow. In order for us to create our dream life, we have to grow. And growth is uncomfortable. And growth means being comfortable with being uncomfortable. And just knowing that there are things that are going to happen. Life goes up and down. Everything that happens in our life is for growth. Hopefully I'll get all of this shit in 10 minutes. And then finally soar, right? So finally soar is when you create a vision that is exciting for you. It's your vision. But what is it that you really want? So I'm going to be telling them, get present to wear your feathers, and then shake your wings, and then put your unique feathers in your wings. So then you can stretch them and then finally fly. So I hope to do all of that in 10 minutes, which is what I'm going to be practicing.
I had a shadow work workshop last night, and this is remind me of that, because shadow work is in everything, whether we want to admit that it is or not, right? But what I was teaching is similar to this, but it's awareness. And then there's a piece that's a little bit different. So awareness, like just knowing whatever this feeling is, whatever this thing that's making me uncomfortable, being aware to it, or aware to the habit, or to the pattern, or to the blaming, denying, lying, whatever it is that you're doing. And then the second part is negotiating, because I feel like there's always this part of us that will try to justify our behaviors for this reason or for that. Like, am I a victim to this? Am I an owner? Was this done to me? Was this done for me? Like whatever this is. And we negotiate our way through it until we can finally accept it. And so a lot of like the conversation, I barely got through my presentation because it was very small. It was a small group. There was 5 of us. And so it got really deep and really like, it was just, the whole thing was just a conversation and examples and like working through specific circumstances that these women are going through. So it was really powerful, but man, can we negotiate with ourselves?
Love, victim versus owner. Shit happens to all of us. You can either go into the shit and just go with your finger, or you can say, I don't want it, and wash your finger with the shit.
It really is that simple.
Oh,
That feels hard, but the solution is simple.
And so many people get stuck in my shadow. I have shadows. Yeah, welcome to humanity. We all have shadows, fucker. But we also have light. What are you bringing your attention to? And that's your choice.
It's the choice part. It's a choice.
Yeah.
There's not a recognition, or I think accountability is lost on a lot of us. It's like, if we can blame somebody else, it's like, well, it wasn't me. You sold this to me. It's like, you did it.
Yeah.
Just stand on that.
And we are allowing our inner childs
Yeah.
run our experience. You did it. You're a bad person.
Yeah.
Fucking own it. Start making your decisions as an adult. Don't
From a
let your
lens.
inner child run it. Yeah, but that is a thing. We have to be comfortable with being uncomfortable.
Yeah.
I want to do this, and I have all of these dreams, and fucking go get him. Go get him.
Yeah.
Is
I
it
had
gonna
a
be
client.
scary? Yeah.
I had a client yesterday who, you coached me through this right at the beginning, actually, and it was interesting, like years ago. Remember, I was like, I have no time. And it was like, that felt really legitimate to me, like having young kids and whatever. And then this client was saying the same thing. And so I just call people on that all the time. I'm like, you have time, you're just not prioritizing it. And that's okay. Like, just say what's true about it. Right. And back in that day, that's what was true for me. I'm like, it's not that I don't have time, but I'm not prioritizing it. This just isn't as important as raising my children right now.
Totally.
And so called her out on that. And then she came back and was like, yeah, you're right. It's not that I don't have time. It's that I don't have energy. Okay, let's talk about that. And it's like, well, what does it feel like when you're working on something that you absolutely love? I'm like, does it feel like you're expending a lot of energy, or does it actually provide you with energy? Does it feel like the time is going really slow, or does the time fly? And like, we're kind of explaining, and she's going through like what it feels like to be in Kriya, to be in flow. And she's like, oh yeah, no, it's actually quite energizing. I'm like, well, then I'm going to call bullshit on you not having any energy either. Because what it is then is like some sort of just force, like just whatever that looks like, whatever your motivation is when you're in your comfort zone. That's the hardest thing, I think. It's like, how are we motivated when we're comfortable, right?
Yeah.
So like, just do. Nike had it right all along, like just do it. And it's like, you're going to get the energy when you start. So you're also lying to yourself with a lack of energy. So what is it really, right? It's just like uncover. Always fear.
I love that part because it comes back to victim versus owner.
Anything can.
Let's work on awareness. Yay. This is what most spiritual people do. Okay, what the fuck are you going to do with that awareness?
Right.
Not just get aware and envision, and I feel it in my heart and all that crap. That is nice. That is where it starts. But what are you going to do about it? And again, I think that just getting out of our wounded child and just saying, I am an adult now.
That's
Decisions.
It reminds me, I took this course with this guy, I think his name's William Whitecloud, and he has an exercise specifically around the victim and the owner. And so you put yourself in a victim circle, right? And so it's almost like a partner play. So let's say like Jill and I are acting this out, and I put myself in a victim circle. And so her job is to actually look at me as the victim. And so she gets to say all of these like victimizing things. Like, when I see somebody who lacks the confidence to actually move forward in their life. When I see you in your victim circle, I see somebody who makes excuses for the things that they don't have in their life because they're not ready for them. And so it's incredibly powerful because it's not you doing it. Someone's looking at you and telling you your victim story. And it's like, holy fuck, right? And so you erase the victimhood and then you put yourself into the owner circle, right? And so at that point, now my energy is different. And so then I get to look at Jill, well, rather she would look at me in my ownership circle and tell me that I am powerful beyond belief. The things that I have manifested are greater than some of people's whole life experiences, right? And so it's this, exactly what you're saying. It's all that it is a perception shift. There's nothing different. I'm not even in a real circle, right? It's just a matter of changing the tune of our frequency and what we're looking at and the things that we're deciding to prioritize, essentially, right? I can prioritize the story of why things aren't the way that they are, even though I want them to be a certain way, or I can prioritize the fact that I can do whatever the fuck I want. Full stop.
This is your zone of genius for sure. Embodiment. Thank you for sharing this, and I'm going to use it. But when I see you and the acting background, the way that you take concepts that are very much in our heads and are hard to grasp, and I know, but I don't know how to put it in action. You bring that embodiment, and I was feeling it as you say. That changes your energy, and that is something that is huge with you. Don't think about it. Feel it. Act it out. And you have so many gold nuggets when you do this.
Like gamified.
Action oriented I am in that sense. Like, I had a client the other day and we were talking about, like, kind of just joking around, like, don't fucking invite me to another vision board bullshit. Don't want to fucking do it. Bitch, I've had a dream house on my vision board my whole fucking life. How am I getting there?
Yeah.
What are the steps? What is the action? What am I doing to get me a fucking house? Because bitch, I could cut out houses all day, right?
Yeah.
But what am I doing with that? Like, I don't want to look at that shit. I want to do shit about it. And so
Mhm.
that's where we are together. It's like, okay, great. Like, you made a board 2 years ago. Like, fuck the board.
Yeah,
Now envision it, and then let's take action on it. Like, what is it that you see yourself doing to get you to that house? How do you, what's the loan look like? Who are you talking to for your mortgage? Who's the realtor? What's the space look like? Do the birds sing, or do you hear trucks outside?
And the other thing that is important that I think is part of that embodiment is
Mm.
not only what you are doing, but before that, who are you being? How is your being changed? And unless you change the way
Totally.
that you show up, and that is what you do with the embodiment shit.
Mhm. Yeah.
Then feel it in your body. How does that feel? Does it feel good? No.
Want to stay
What-
there is also the question. It's like, okay, great. And I think that's something that I've practiced for so long. And I started with my family because I'm like, okay, you know what? Y'all are treating me like shit here. Do you want to be that person? Because if you do, that's fine. I'm not going to take it away from you, but I'm also not going to have a relationship with you, right?
Yeah.
You want to keep calling me fat? Go ahead. Go ahead. You're going to see my fat ass in a picture because I'm never coming back. You know what I'm saying? So I need you to see what you are doing, see who you are right now in this present moment. Are you okay with that? If yes, fine, right?
Yeah.
There's nothing for us to work on. But if the answer is no, then how do we then move into the place in the person that you actually want to be? Let's step in there right now. What does that feel like? Doesn't it feel good to actually have a nice relationship with somebody that you love? Isn't it nice to say nice things to them?
Yeah.
So isn't it a better reaction when that happens?
Right. And alternatively, it's like, thank you for the confirmation so I can release whatever effort has been in.
And it goes back to choice, like everything does, right? What is you, do you choose this or not consciously? I don't want you to unconsciously choose anything anymore. Consciously say yes or no.
Yeah.
And tell me you're a shitbag or not.
And that ultimately is very uncomfortable and difficult because once I become an owner, then everything that happens in my life is my decision, my things. And if something goes to hell, the only person to blame is me.
Yeah. And once you know, like once we learn this lesson, we can't unlearn it, you know, so
Nope.
we can sit here and talk about this all day. And we know like we're taking action on the things we want. We're choosing our pain. In fact, all of it, we choose it all. How do we get people who are unconscious conscious? That's the tricky part. Like obviously in the work that we do, but they also need to be drawn to the work. Like another example, because yesterday in this workshop, there was a woman who was sexually assaulted, as most women unfortunately are at some point in their lives. And it's something she thinks about every single day. And so talking about victim and owner, I was like, well, how, you know, this is a thing that happened to you, right? And also, how did this happen for you? And she's like, I don't understand the question. Like she could not understand the question.
Yeah.
She's like, I don't know what you're asking. Like, what do you mean? I had to explain it over and over. And I was like, can I just offer a suggestion then? She has 2 daughters. And I was like, how this may have happened for you is that you now raised your daughters to understand what is appropriate and inappropriate behavior from an adult male. Like just as one example. And then she just was like it was just like this giant light went off inside her that was like, you know, for her, but it gave her like this different perspective. But how do people come to that on their own? Do they?
No, 1000%. I've had a similar experience myself in having to work through my own of child abuse. The take that I took was a little bit different. So one of the exercises that I had to do was how was I the, what do I want to say, perpetuator, so to speak, of that abuse. And like that struck me. I was like, I don't, how I was literally couldn't even speak, you know, like I wasn't even old enough to walk. Like these things, how do I explain that to myself in the role that I took was essentially the question. What role did I take in this situation? I was so frustrated, not with the question, but with my own understanding of my experience as that victim. And that was my takeaway. And I'm necessarily sure how I got there, but essentially what I did have to see was my role was the victim. I was choosing the role of the victim each and every time, every single day, every time I woke up and that's all I thought about, every time I cringed when somebody touched me, every time I got into a space where I felt uncomfortable, I was choosing again to be a victim, again, of having that experience. I chose that experience over and over and over again, rather than being in the experience that I'm having right now. I kept going back to that very first one every single.
And then having that same bodily response probably. Like the little jolt of like,
PTSD, right? 1000%, not enough to like negatively affect my life, but enough to notice,
remind you
enough to
that you're a
notice,
victim.
right? Yeah,
Mhm.
enough for it to maybe not affect my professional like life or things that I was doing, but every relationship that I had, whether it was a boyfriend or a friend. I
Yeah.
don't trust people, you know, I don't want to be close. I don't want you to know things about my, like, there were ways that I was protecting myself. Again, a defense that I was still I was victimizing myself. Therefore, I was projecting all of these then incredible boundaries that I thought were really amazing until they weren't,
Right.
right? They
Right.
served me until they didn't.
Yeah.
And so I had to reflect on what that was. There still servitude there in that role that I was playing.
Right. And what is the boundary protecting? Is
Right?
it protecting your growth, or is it protecting, you know, you staying stuck in this victim?
Absolutely. Literally staying in that state of being. I couldn't evolve past that point, which was my very first memory. I wasn't evolving at all. What was I? Still that experience, still that same person.
So what made you realize or become aware then?
Because, well, the reality was I was always aware.
Yeah.
Whether I grew up aware or because that was my very first memorable experience, that created awareness in me.
Yeah.
And so I was a child fully aware. And for me, what was that realization that what the fuck was I doing with this awareness? I walk around on this like high horse on this pedestal telling myself like, oh my God, I'm so amazing because I'm so aware. But like, what the fuck are you doing with it?
Yeah, you sure.
I still was feeling the exact same way each and every time. I thought it was like doing better. Oh my God, you got rid of your depression. Did you? Or are you still sitting in the funk of that shit? I had to really get real with myself. Do I want this to be my life or not?
Mhm.
It wasn't in like a pivotal
Good.
moment. It truly was
Point of 10.
an actual bodily feeling of this is not my life. It is my life, but this is not what I want from it. And so am I going to continue to be in that same role and choose the same things over and over again and continue to make the same exact decisions every single day?
Yeah.
Or am I going to do something different and actually be the person that I want to be? Because whatever the fuck this is, it was shit.
Maybe our incarnations on life just have a capacity to deal with shit. And then it just starts to overflow. And then that's when awareness starts to creep in or something. I don't know. Who knows? You know, that's what I'm envisioning. What happened? What happened besides a complete set of circumstances over time leading up to that moment besides just the moment?
Absolutely. Yeah. And that takes me back to, I've been kind of like reading into like Kriya yoga and all of these things. And always, right, this idea of the true self versus this sort of thing that we identify with.
Mhm.
And we over identify with our circumstances and our past actions and the things that happen to us. And that's not the reality of our nature, right? I can remove that and this still exists. The soul and all that's underneath the weird meat suit part, it's still there. And
Mhm.
that's unchanging. Our circumstances changes, our body changes, our thoughts, our everything changes, but that one unchanging thing is the real truth. So I think at a point I realized I have to look to that part.
Mhm.
Everything else isn't real.
Right. Yeah. Speaking of like ego, I remember going to a course, just, you know me, I'm taking all the courses. And the instructor was like, what do you know to be true about yourself? Like that was kind of the first question.
Mhm.
And she gave us like 10 minutes or something to write. And the very first thing was, I know nothing. I know absolutely nothing. And all the other people in the room wrote a bunch of shit. And so I was like, well, what else can I write
Oh.
down besides nothing? Right. I'm like, well, I know that Dave Matthews Band is the absolute best band on the planet. Like I started to just be like facetious about it. And then when the whole point of the exercise was for us to understand that we know nothing. Right. Because then people would list the things they know. And then she was going to like bring us to this whole aha moment that actually what you know is nothing. So speaking of ego, I'm like, I already knew that, but wait.
Right. And then the question then begs to ask, what do I do with that knowing? Right. We know all of these things. I've got so much knowing in me. It's like, oh, and what else?
And so what? And so what?
What?
So
Yeah.
what, bitch? So
and
what?
yeah. What the fuck does that matter?
Yeah. Yeah.
Honestly.
Yeah. Is your house clean? Is your laundry done?
The fuck is it?
Is it?
According to who also?
Oh, poor Lennon last night. I was like, I had a misstep last night. I came back from the workshop. It was late. It was almost 10. And the girls were both asleep in my bed where I had just washed the sheets that day. So there was new sheets, new bedding, comforter, like quilt, like down feather comforter on the bed.
Yep.
And she was on top of the bed, on top of a blanket with another blanket on top of her. Like it was just like, whatever. That's how they fell asleep last night. And I'm like, oh, she's gonna piss the bed,
Oof.
you know? And I knew it. I knew she was going to, and I didn't do anything about it because I'm like, she's learning. I've been telling her over and over, like, wear your underwear. You're doing great. Like most nights are dry, but I already knew, like I knew she was going to pee. And then she woke up in the middle of the night and she had peed 14 gallons of pee, like through the blanket, through the comforter, through the sheet, on like through everything.
Through the mattress, yeah.
Mattress. And in my 1 a.m. fatigue, I was like, why didn't you wear a diaper? Yeah. And she's like, well, you don't want me to wear a diaper. I'm like, fuck. I'm like, you're right. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
You're right. You're right. I shouldn't have said that. And let's just go get you changed and we'll go back to sleep. And I grabbed Jamesy's blanket from the thing and I went to sleep going, it's just pee. What's the big fucking deal? But it's so funny because in that moment, I'm like, of course you peed on my clean sheet. Like I knew it. I should have done something. It's washable.
Literally.
And sanitary. So who cares? Like, sure, it smells, but fuck, it's clean. Smell like she shit the bed.
Right. And like even just that idea, it's like it's gonna be fine.
Yeah.
It's gonna be fine.
Yeah.
It's already it's not even gonna be fine. It is fine.
Pretty fine. Because all things are.
Right now.
Yeah. And but I watched myself do it, which is the annoying part. As the words were coming out of my mouth, I was like watching myself say the words and like trying to like swallow them back. Like that. Be encouraging.
Yeah. Yeah. Oof. It's big, but there goes that in between from like the awareness is there, right? But like the catch isn't, you haven't got the catch part, which is the like, what do I do with it now? Ego's still playing games.
Yeah. Wow. And it's like, wow, you know, after just telling all of these other women and being honest with myself and going through this whole like beautiful experience, that's how I decided to show up hours later. It's like, holy shit, who are you?
Feeling though.
Yeah. Yeah, it's frustrating for sure. I don't want to do laundry every day, tell you that, but I do. And here I am smiling and laughing about it because what choice do we have?
What else? Why choose
why choose the other one? Why?
Like it reminds me. They always say like, you know, what is it? Like violence is never the answer. And that doesn't resonate with me. Violence is the question. It's not the answer. Do I be violent or not?
I like forgiveness. Everyone's like, oh, forgive. You mean you must forgive. I'm like, no, you fucking don't. You don't. You don't need to. You can accept. You don't need to forgive.
1000%. Where it's like, it's usually the question, not the answer. Like, am I going to be violent or not?
Yeah.
That's where I land. Not like, is this deserving of it?
You're right. Got it. All right. Well, this was fun. I'm really glad we hit record on this one.